This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
A very good afternoon, boys and girls of Flamingo Elementary, College Park Elementary and Glenwood Elementary Schools. A warm welcome to our Sunset Drive, and we are coming to you live from the Mara Triangle in Kenya. And how nice to start with the elephants. My name is David, and on camera with me today is a gentleman by the name of Bungay. Hello, Bungay. Are you happy for the kids? Do you want to show them elephants again? Well, boys and girls, Bungay, the camera operator today, is very happy, and he's saying he wants to show you so many animals, but we are going to start with elephants. Look at them, and they even have small ones, like you boys and girls. Just to let you know, we'll be very happy if you're going to ask us questions through your teachers. If you have a nice comment to make, please do it through your teachers. We have a very nice cool afternoon, and we got temperatures of about 26 degrees Celsius and 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Now look at that elephant, and what he just did was to pick some food. Using the trunk, it could not come out, and it used its foot to make it come out and then straight to the mouth. Isn't that exciting? Now that one is definitely a girl, and for animals, girls, we call them females, and she got her young one at the back. Hazel, I'm going to give you a very big clap, and you're going to hear me clapping for you because, Hazel, you're the first one to ask me a question. And you're asking, what exactly is a safari? Hazel, a safari is when you come to Africa and you're put in a very nice car, like what we have, and you're given a very good guide, like me and many other guides that you're going to meet later, and they drive you through the game reserves of Africa and show you all the beautiful animals we got here. For example, that elephant drinking water. That is what a safari is. We'll also show you birds, not only mammals, not only animals. We'll show you trees, we'll show you flowers, we'll show you landscape, we'll show you mountains. That is what a safari is, Hazel. See that very youngster there in the middle? Notice, boys and girls, I'm sure you know, you're joining us for the first time. And I guess you know that elephants are the largest animals on land. Can you believe that? But of course not that baby, eh? That's a young one. Do you see how they're flapping and opening their ears? They will always do that so that they can cool off. So once in a while they walk, they open and close their ears just to cool off their blood, because all the cooling is done in their ears. Boys and girls, elephants are always led by a female. You remember I told you a female is a girl and not a boy. Cayman, you'd like to know how elephants use their trunks. Now, if you look at that trunk there of those two elephants that are feeding, that trunk does not have any bones. It's made of nothing but muscles. And an elephant trunk is very important because they will use it to grab food, as you can see how they're feeding. And also at the end of that trunk, it's hollow. And that hollowness in it, they can use it to scoop water, like the one we just saw a few minutes ago. They scoop water and they put it in their mouth. If they want, say, to talk to each other, they lift the same trunk up and you see them holding each other just like what you saw there. If they want to reach some leaves or some branches on trees that are a bit high, they'll raise the trunk and bring the branches down to eat them. So an elephant trunk is very important. How nice to see all these elephants for you boys and girls. I'll stay here a few more minutes and see whether they'll be doing something else more interesting for you. But I am not the only one here out on safari, and I'll take you a long way to South Africa to another gentleman who will say hello to you and show you maybe something different. You can see I've got these very big animals here who are just trying to have some rest here by the water hole. It's quite very hot at the moment, and this is what the animals do when it's very hot. Good afternoon, boys and girls. My name is Sydney Fumurani Mikosi, and I am traveling with Dave, with Craig, who is my camera operator. We are right here by the western side of Kruger National Park, Juma Game Reserve, and we are going to show you quite a lot of interesting animals. Please don't forget to ask your teachers to ask us questions this afternoon. Madeleine, your question is one of those lovely questions. Why is this grass so important to the wild animals? Wild animals are divided into two groups in terms of they are divided into three groups in terms of their diet. We have got carnivores. The carnivores are the animals who feed on meat only. We have got the omnivores. The omnivores are the animals who feed on both plants and meat. And then we have got what is called the herbivores. Herbivores feed on vegetation. Vegetation, I am talking about grass and trees. And the grass and trees, animals that feed on grass only, they are called grazers, of which this animal we are seeing here now is one of the grazers. And animals that eat leaves from the trees, we call them browsers. So the grass are very much important for the nutrition of the animals such as the buffaloes, because they only eat grass. Without grass, these animals starve and they battle a lot for their survival. So grasses does not only help the animals with the diet, it does also help the environment. It protects the soil against what is called soil erosion. Soil erosion is the removal of the top layer of soil, the nutritious top layer which grows the seeds of the bush. When it's washed away, the seeds battle to germinate or they battle to grow. So without grass, we can have problems here in the bush. Delina, the animals, they hide and they've got different ways of hiding. We have got animals that hide under the ground by the holes. For example, we have got animals such as the artfuck. Artfuck is one of the animals who are active at night, and during the day they hide inside the holes. And then we have got the animals such as the predators. These animals who normally go and hunt other animals. When it's hot like this, they like to go and hide in the bushes. They like to also go and hide in the dry riverbed, because those areas, they give them good temperature when it's hot. They minimize the hotness of the sun. And some of the animals, like the hippopotamus, they go and hide in water. And at night, they come out and eat. During the day, you will find them hiding in water in order to prevent the sunburn. So now we are going to cross over to the Masai Mara in Kenya, where Steve is ready to show you some elephants at the moment.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. We are indeed with some elephants. They are everywhere this afternoon. The big African elephant. Lots and lots of families of them moving around, feeding on the beautiful long grass that you can see. You see there's Mum in front, and then some youngsters in front of them. Good afternoon, my name is Steve. I'm joined on camera by Big James, and we are indeed in the Mara Triangle, just like David you saw a little moment ago. But for the moment, we are with some lovely elephants that are right behind us, and there are loads of elephants at the moment. And, well, I can't even count what we've seen already this afternoon. There's all sorts of things going on. But for now, you can see that is a big adult and two of her youngsters. You see the very, very amazing trunk that she's got there. Down on the ground with the trunk, which is actually her nose. Can you believe that? Her nose is going all the way down, grabbing the grass, smelling what smells the sweetest and the tastiest. Just like when you're picking fruit from the store, you like to smell which of the fruit smells nicer, don't you? Elephants have got a very good sense of smell. And there that little youngster is learning from Mum. See how it's busy grabbing a small plant on the ground. It's not actually even a grass. He's using the trunk to dig into the long grass and even the foot to push it through. Jackery, you want to know how elephants eat? Well, you're busy watching it right now. They use their very long trunk. At the tip of the trunk, there's two little fingers that they're able to use to do all sorts of things. They could essentially pick up a needle off of the floor if they wanted to. They could peel an orange with the tip of that trunk. And what they're doing is they're smelling for a particular plant that they might be looking for. And you see how she's just using the tip of her trunk there, and then she'll find something, she'll rip it, might even kick it with her foot to maybe loosen it from the ground, and then lifts it all the way up to the mouth. There it goes, inside, where she then chews it, and then it goes into her tummy. And they're constantly feeding elephants. They have got an enormous amount of food that they need to eat every single day. Not like us, we can have 2-3 meals a day and we're good. Elephants are constantly eating. Khalil, that's a great question. You want to know how far they can smell? Well, it depends on, I suppose, what they're looking for. One thing that's for certain is elephants can smell water under the ground more than a couple of yards deep. Quite easily, a few meters underground, they can sniff the water through the soil and then they can dig it up. But with regards to maybe certain smells on the wind, it's very hard to say actually, but I can tell you they can probably smell far better than most animals out here can. A very delicate sense of smell. And down in South Africa where Sydney is, the marulas, which are a beautiful tree, make nice fruit. They start into fruit now, and when they're ripe, elephants come from miles to get those fruits. And whether they just know they're there or if they can smell them, it's very hard to say. But they can smell a very long distance. I can't actually tell you how far, Zachary, but I promise you it's much better than us, that's for sure. We struggle to smell what's going on just in the car. The elephants, though, their sense of smell is very, very good. Aren't they beautiful? It's very nice spending time with elephants because they're always busy feeding or bathing or playing with each other or kicking something. And it seems like David, who's not far away, has got some elephants of his own.
Well, boys and girls, I told you I am going to wait a little bit longer and stay with the elephants and see how close they have come to the car. I'll tell you, boys and girls, my favorite animals, or my favorite animal of all the animals we got in Africa are the elephants. Because elephants will always be doing something. It's very difficult to see an elephant just lying there and looking at you, and not either eating or moving or drinking or scratching himself or herself. Now see this one very close to us near the car, and you notice it's a very intelligent elephant because it's eating the greener grass. It's eating the greener grass and not the other grass because the greener one is more nutritious. Cayman, I'll tell you something interesting, and you want to know how elephants grow their tusks. Now, those two tusks you see there are just like our teeth. So when you have your teeth, you know, I'm sure we got molars, we got premolars, we got canines, and we got another set that we call incisors. So these ones are like incisors of an elephant, and they are modified teeth of an elephant. And once a baby elephant is born, after 2.5 years, going to 3, the tusks start coming out slowly. So they're just like teeth, but they don't use them for chewing. They use them sometimes to dig the ground, sometimes to break trees, and occasionally when boys will fight, they will use their tusks. Now you can see the edge of the car, Cayman, and all the other boys and girls, and you can see how close the elephant is. I'm estimating that to be about 2 meters or about 6 feet between the car and the elephant. And if we are very quiet, the elephant will keep eating there. It's not going to be bothered by me. I'm speaking a bit softly now because I respect these favorite animals of mine. Can you see the baby there? Just playing and not eating, moving around, tossing the grass, trying to taste something, not sure she's eating because that grass is too tough for her. And here you would like to know, what do baby elephants do all day? And here see how this one is coming so close to us. Babies of elephants will keep following their mothers throughout, and elephants stay in groups that we call herds, where in general there are only girls in the groups or females and the young ones like this one. So they make sure they keep following the mother, and like this, if hungry, you'll see her taking some grass to feed. Then once in a while they go drinking. When it gets hot, the babies will be taken by the mothers to stay under a shade of tree because their skins are still very sensitive. They don't use sunscreen. And when it cools off, they'll be out again feeding. Sometimes you'll see them going to some mud areas to wallow in the mud, and you see them playing in the mud. So that's all what baby elephants will do the whole day, but always staying very close to their mothers. You see, that one now is having tusks and definitely much older than 2.5 years. Sorry, I didn't catch the question for Halima. All elephants are grey, that was your question. And yes, Halima, all elephants are grey, sorry. All elephants are grey. I'm going to just move a little bit forward. And just 1 minute, I'm going to forward a little bit. And the guy behind me who wants to pass. And yes, Halima, all elephants in general are grey. And sometimes you see them being more grey because they're being in the mud. Now let's go back to the elephants again, and I'll show you what I meant to say they are grey. You see that elephant there, Bungay? You see, Halima, all elephants in general are grey in color. Sorry, boys and girls, there are 2 vehicles there which wanted to pass very quickly, and I do not know whether they missed to see the elephants. You can see they got wrinkled skin if you look at them carefully, and a wrinkled skin, it makes it easy for them to cool off because the way it is wrinkled, it increases the surface area. They keep flopping their ears like that once in a while, as I said earlier, just to cool off. All right, boys and girls, it's time to move to something else and something more exciting. Don't forget to keep sending your questions through your teachers, or any comments you might have. Okay. What are my plans today? My plans today, if I'm lucky, I might be showing you some lions. This is the main plan today. So if me or Sydney will be able to get you some kitty cats. But in the meantime, let's go back to South Africa to my friend Sydney.
I am now looking for the spotted cat. I'm looking for a leopard, and this leopard, I saw him earlier this morning in this area, but now I can't find the tracks because the wind is so blowing strongly where I am, is rubbing all the tracks. So there's quite a lot of impalas here where I am. I can see that the impalas, they are those animals who normally attract these animals such as the leopards. So there's a leopard called Hosanna here. I can't see him here anymore. Maybe I'll find him if I go around here and check every bush. He likes to hide in these bushes and up in trees. Benny, the impalas, they are not specific when it comes to the diet. It's one of those animals which can feed on both grass and leaves from the trees. And it helps them because when the winter season comes, the grasses becomes dry and they become difficult to eat and digest. So by winter season, sometimes some of the trees, they still have got the leaves. They can change and feed on leaves. At the moment, they are feeding on grasses and leaves. And both grasses and leaves, they are starting to bring back some green leaves. Kaylen, Africa does get very cold. During the winter season, our winter season is starting from May, June, and July. By that time it's so cold, and some of the areas in South Africa specifically does get snow during that period. So quite a lot of impalas are playing. Cayman, the leopard. How do they hide so well? A leopard is one of those animals which has got quite a lot of spots everywhere around the body. And those spots, they are very much important in order to match them with the surrounding. When the leopard is lying down in the middle of the bush, it's difficult to see him. And you mustn't forget that during the dry season, when the bush is starting to lose the leaves, the color of the leaf changes and turns reddish, some turns yellowish. And if you look at the spots for the leopards, they can be yellowish, and that is what makes them to camouflage, because they are just the same looking as the surrounding. Oh, I can see there's a small impala baby here. Let me don't go much closer. I want to show you. So you can see there that I have got the small impala baby. Look at that. So that baby is one of the newborns. It's even less than, it must be less than a week by now. A lot of them is now that they are having some babies. You can see there, look at that. Quite a beautiful baby, nice and clean. When the little ones are still young, they like to play. Look at how that little one is walking. You can see it's still very new. Look at that. Benjamin, how do impalas protect their families? A good question, Benjamin. The impalas, if you check, a family of impala, we call it a herd. A herd which is consisted of the females and one male. That male is the father of all the babies. And this father is the one who is responsible in order to chase away the other impalas who wants to come and cause problem in his family. And in case when the predators are coming, impalas, they get targeted by animals such as leopard. They have got horns, and the males have got horns so that they can be able to defend themselves and protect their family. Unfortunately, the females don't have horns. It's one of those animals which has got fast speed in order to avoid danger when there is predators. Nyala, the impala's legs, they are so long and flexible for the speed. The impala's body, if you look at it now, you will see that it's a body which has been designed for jumping and for running fast. And they've got 3 colors on the sides, which is part of the colors that helps them to camouflage. This is what is called a counter shading. It divides animals into 3-dimensional forms. So it's very difficult for the predators here when it's quite a lot of impalas available in order to single one out. So you can see now they're eating some grasses which are starting to come back green there. So if you look there, when the little one is following, the big ones at the back, they've got some 3 stripes. You see, those 3 stripes are the follow me signs. So the little ones, they look at the adults. When they're in front, they look at those 3 stripes. It's like, come this side, we are going this side. That is where the little one must check. And when the little one is growing higher, it will start to check behind the ears. If you look behind the ears there, there's black tips. Those black tips is for calling the other ones, let's go this side. That is how they follow each other. If they don't want to call each other from the voices, they do vocalize sometimes in order to communicate. You will hear the mothers, they call their little ones by the following sound. They make sound like eh, eh, eh. That is the sound for the mothers when they are calling the little ones. Lillian, how do the male impalas grow their horns? If you check Lillian, I am going to give you a good example. If you check me, look here. Let me show you something. If you check here, I've got some hairs. And here I have got some beards. So these beards, they are grown by a hormone which is called a testosterone. This is the hormone which is responsible to grow their horns by these animals. So the animals, when it's too hot, the daylight raises these animals to release quite a lot of testosterone hormone in order to grow the horns. So those impalas got disappeared now. So this leopard must be around here. I'm going to check another pen. I'm going to another water hole now. So now let's cross over to my colleague Steve, who is driving by the Masai Mara at the moment.
Thanks, Sydney. Well, we've got a very special surprise for you, boys and girls. Just hold on 1 second while we get a bit closer. I've spotted something in the distance lying down here in the long grass. I know David said to you a little while ago he wanted to find some for you, but we have beaten him to it. Look at what we've spotted just here. I'm just going to get around them so you can see their faces. They're lying down in the grass. I can see at least 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we have found some lions. Very exciting. I love spending time with lions. And, well, they are quite... You'll see them in a moment. There's a couple other vehicles around. We are in the Mara Triangle, and there are other people that are allowed to drive around and view these animals. So you might see 1 or 2 other vehicles. Let's just move here and show you this very pretty lioness. I think it's a lioness, just off onto the left-hand side over here. There we go. Look at this beautiful, beautiful creature. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fred, you want to know how many lions live here? Wow, that's incredible. That's a great question. I couldn't tell you offhand, but in this area we've got the Paradise Pride, the Marsh Pride, the Magoro Pride, the Owino pride, the sausage tree pride, that's actually a young male. The salt lick pride, am I missing anything, James? 6, 7? There's at least 7 prides that I can tell you straight away off the top of my head. And each of them I've got between 5 and 15 lions, some of them 17. So that's a lot of lions. A lot of lions. If you quickly do the math there's more than 100 or so lions. There's lots of lions in the Mara. And on the other side of the river there's even more. And then into the Serengeti, which is south of here, there's even more. Lots and lots of cats in the Mara Triangle. There's lots of food for them. Lots of animals moving through. There you can see some more there, busy moving. Donovan, what a great question. You want to know how loud a baby lion can roar? Well, baby lions don't actually roar. You heard Sydney before talking about testosterone, and essentially as lions start getting a little bit older, probably about closer to a year, then they're able to start making a sort of calling sound, a roaring sound. Before that, they just do a very quiet it's a little contact call that they do. But once they get a little bit older, they can start adding their voice to the chorus of the pride. And, well, some people say you can hear a lion calling from 4, 5 miles away. Isn't that incredible? 4 or 5 miles you can hear them calling, and we can hear them calling. There's a lot of, well, the lions, we talk about elephants hearing. Lions also got very good sense of hearing, and they can probably hear it from even further. Kanan, you want to know how they can sneak up on their prey? Well, you can probably see that lion. It looks pretty much like it's standing out there, doesn't it? But the rest of the lions are moving off in the direction, sort of towards the mountain. And what they do is they actually go down quite low in the grass. And they get very, very low, and they start to stalk so that they can actually hide in the long grass so that animals can't see them. They're actually very camouflaged out here. To us, we can see them because we see color, but most of the animals out here see black and white. And, well, to them, a lion is almost invisible in the long grass, but it's the shape. They look at the lion's shape. You see those ears and the face. But if the lion wants to be invisible, it goes very, very flat and puts its ears down, and the whole body disappears quite low down to the ground. And that is pretty much what they do. Hello, Kaylee. You want to know why male lions grow a mane? Well, mainly because it's all about testosterone. As male lions get older, the testosterone builds up, and they're able to sort of, there's 2 purposes for a mane. One is that it identifies them as a male, and quite often a big male lion will have a big dark brown mane, and quite often it looks quite intimidating to other male lions. A younger male sees a bigger male, and it invariably will say, "Ooh, I don't want to mess with that guy," and so will leave him alone. But the other reason is that the mane serves as a big cushioning, a padding on the neck. The neck is a very sensitive area. There's a lot of blood vessels and important arteries in the neck, and so when male lions fight, they need to protect themselves, and the mane on the neck actually works as a very good cushion if another male does fight or attack another male. So it works as sort of insulation, almost like if you wore a helmet on your head. It protects your head against falling, or if someone had to punch you in the head and you're wearing a helmet, well, it's not going to hurt as much, is it? So that's basically what the mane is all about. But the lions are busy sneaking up ahead here, James. Wonder if they're looking to catch anything. Sorry, Lou, I didn't quite understand that question. How does a baby lion know something? Didn't quite get that. There was a little bit of breakup, I mean. Ooh. Milky, you want to know how a baby lion knows it's in trouble? Well, basically, there's lots of things out here that are dangerous for lions. Other lions, hyena, all sorts of things. And so there's an instinct that they have that they know, oh, something's not right. I need to get away. We all have that instinct. And baby lions, they learn, ooh, there's something not right. And they'll run and hide in the bushes. But when they're with mum, they learn very quickly because mum's body language and behavior, if she's sitting relaxed like this young male lion is, and the cub sees something it's not too happy about, looks at mum, and mum is relaxed, well, then the cub gets used to that. But if it sees mum is behaving in a certain way, well, they'll quickly run and hide away. Sometimes there's not even a call from mum. Sometimes it's just a body language that she does, and well, then the cubs run and hide somewhere where they can sort of escape the predators. Okay, so the lions are busy sneaking up over there. They're trying to sneak up. I'm not sure exactly what they're going for, but something that lions really, really do enjoy out in the African wilderness is the very tall giraffe.
Well, boys and girls, how lucky you. You started with me with elephants, then you went to South Africa, to Sydney with buffaloes, and now just some lions with Steve. And I'm giving you something new, a giraffe. So we started with the largest animal on land in the whole world, the elephant, and now we got the tallest animal in the whole world. And this is the giraffe. I'm convinced, I would want your teachers to correct me, but most of you could be maybe, 3-4 feet tall. All of you can walk under the belly of that giraffe. How funny is that, boys and girls? They're very tall. We are talking they have almost 6 feet. That's the length of their feet, of their legs, 6 feet. And I'm sure none of you is of that height. So you can comfortably walk under the giraffe and maybe just pat it with your palm, pop, and you go the other side. Isn't that interesting? They also got very long necks and also very long tongues. They got long tongues because if she choose to eat those leaves, you see the trees, you see the leaves on those trees, she's going to raise her neck up and maybe turn her head up, and then she's going to push her tongue out all the way, and then she can reach the very top leaves of these trees. Giraffes have that one advantage. They are the only animals that can eat very tall trees. The other animals can't reach them. So giraffes have that one big luck of reaching the top leaves of plants or trees like these ones here. We've got many types of giraffes in Africa. This particular one here is called the Maasai giraffe. And the differences will be on the pattern. You see the pattern, how it looks like a leaf? So all the other 3 types of giraffe, they have different body pattern. And that's exactly what Bungei, who is on camera with me today, is showing you. RJ, that's a very good question. And how long are giraffe necks? Giraffe necks are about 2 meters. Can you believe? Again, almost the same height or length, just like their feet. So giraffe necks are about 6 feet. Can you imagine? So giraffe necks are taller than all of you. But there's something I'll tell you interesting, because you talked about the neck of the giraffe. Now, I want all of you boys and girls to touch your necks, touch the back of your necks, and there are some bones there. And anybody who is close to a teacher, your teachers will walk through you a small exercise, and I want you to feel the bones that you have on your necks. Those bones are called vertebrae bones. And we human beings, me and all of you and your teachers and all the human beings, got 7 of them. Now, I want to ask you a question. I'm sure I've been enjoying your questions, but now it's my time to ask you a question. Look at that giraffe. I just told you it got a neck of about 6 feet. I want you to tell me how many vertebrae bones do you think are on that giraffe neck? I told you me and all of you and Bungei here and your teachers, we got 7 on our necks. So a giraffe with 6 feet about, give me an idea. And I want you to give me guesses. Give me any numbers. Very soon you're asking, why do giraffes have purple tongues? That's how they are designed, but sometimes you'll get the tongue keeps coming out of their mouth to reach the leaves out there. And because the sun gets so burnt, the tongues get so burnt by the sun, they may take a particular color, because more often than not, the tongue is always out of the mouth to reach the leaves. And you can see her chewing, because she just picked some leaves for herself. In general also, giraffes, like the elephants we saw before, will walk in groups that we call herds. And one advantage of walking groups, you have safety in numbers, because you are many and you have many eyes and you can see left, right, in front and the back. And just like the lions with Steve, when they are coming to the giraffes, they can warn each other, like what we like saying, watch my back and I watch yours. Sorry, Lou. Ania, very good question. And where do giraffes sleep? Giraffes will always be out, like where you see that particular one. If Aliyah, they find the place is safe, that's where they will stay for the night. But if they feel it's not good for them, either other animals like hyenas or lions come for them, they'll go to a place that's open and they can see themselves if they turn around. So they'll still sleep here in the wilderness where they are, but they always make sure there's no any dangerous animal like a lion or a hyena that maybe would come for them at night. So just to let you know, giraffes will only eat leaves and or small twigs or small branches. Giraffes do not eat grass. And animals that eat leaves or twigs or branches are called browsers. Browsers. We've got other animals that will eat grass that we call grazers. So don't think she's eating grass there. She's just picking some small leaves from some bushes there. Zama, that's another interesting question. Do giraffes only eat leaves? But I'll tell you, you're also asking, do they eat fruit too? Yes, and that giraffes will also eat fruit. Is anything green they will eat. The only thing maybe they always try to avoid is grass, because it's not good for their digestion. So they'll always keep eating leaves, and if, of course, they get some fruit somewhere, they'll also eat them. So animals that eat green matter, be it fruit or vegetables or leaves or twigs, we call them herbivores. So giraffes are herbivores, and the elephants we saw before are herbivores, and the buffaloes with Sydney are also herbivores. They are vegetarians, if you'd want to say, because they only eat green matter. There's a very small bird here to my left. I don't know, Bungay, you're able to catch it or it's going to go away. Because when we are out in the bush, we see so many things. And we see whether he's going to get that small bird there. And that was a small bird. He just disappeared, don't worry, and it's called a longclaw. Now, boys and girls, I know you're still thinking about my question, but I'll give you an answer. So if I touch my neck there are bones there. Those bones, we call them the vertebrae bones, and we human beings, me and you, we got 7. Now, going back to the giraffe, will you believe, boys and girls, that even a giraffe has 7, or a giraffe also got 7 vertebrae bones on that long neck that's about 2 meters long. But the difference is their bones, or their vertebrae bones, are very big, and they're bigger than ours. that gives it advantage to reach all the top leaves that other animals cannot reach. Hello, giraffe. Where are your friends? And you can see he's still eating, and it was exciting to see elephants with me, to see giraffes with me, or a giraffe with me. I'm very happy for you, boys and girls, and I'll be moving on, and I want to thank you very much to be part of the drive with me. But before we end, we'll take you to my friend Steve with the cat.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, the pride of lions that we found is sneaking up on a very unsuspecting warthog. The warthog seems to have slowed down its movement. It was moving all the way left. Go a bit more left, Dave. James. Left, left, left. There's a lioness in the long grass there. Not so much. A little bit right. There's a lioness sneaking up there. A little bit more right. She was hidden there a moment ago. They are sneaking up on her. Female warthog. One of the other young males has peeled all the way around this warthog, and, well, I don't know if the warthog is going to have a happy day, because it almost has absolutely no idea that there's a pride of lions stalking it. There are at least 9 lions in this pride. I've yet to get a proper sort of ID of them, but look at the movement. Look at how low down on the ground she's moving. As soon as the warthog lifts its head, it'll stop. As soon as it lifts its head, it'll stop again and then move again. Look at them. A magic dragon wizard. This little piggy will not make it home from the market. Well, you know, money on the warthog, money on the lions. It's not really a gambling sort of thing. The lions have the upper hand here with regards to numbers. The warthog can easily go over that mound at the back there. It's a bit tricky. The lions are very difficult for us to capture them all now, but they are really encircling this warthog, who has been feeding with its head down, almost completely oblivious to the threat that awaits it. Look at that patience and stealth moving forward. If we didn't know where those lions were, we wouldn't be able to actually see them, would we? And towards the left, there's a young male that is looping around, and his job is he's going to scare that warthog, and the warthog, if it runs towards the adults that are on the right-hand side, well, it's going to be game over for this pig. It's all about the direction that it moves. This warthog could run directly up that hill. It could run directly right. That would be a big mistake if it does. But these traps are often set by lions, and they often fail. But they can also be successful. See how the lioness has disappeared in the long grass. There she is. James has got her. There's at least 2 there. And, well, we've lost visual of most of the others that are somewhere around there as well. And moving in on the left is the young male. I think if we keep a little bit, that warthog, the male's going to come up behind this warthog. If that warthog gets a whiff of him or sight of him, because he's not behaving as stealthily as the adults are. Oh, he's down flat now. Sorry, folks, it's very hard to get all of this on camera for you. The lions are all spread out across this open field here. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Mara Triangle in Kenya, where there you can see just the ear tufts of 2 lioness at least. There are 9 lions here at the moment. They're all sneaking up on a very unsuspecting warthog that, well, seems to have absolutely no idea that there are 9 hungry lions around. There's the warthog. Please, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them below. I'd love to hear from you. The warthog had some ox pickers on its back. Normally they're quite alarming, so they'll jump and alarm him, or her, should I say. But they've left now, and the warthog seemingly completely unaware. Towards the left, there is another young male that is sneaking up. He's just gone down in the grass. I think he's a little bit more left. Can you see him, James? There he is on the left-hand side. Now his job is he's coming around and he's either going to try catch the warthog or chase it towards the waiting lionesses that are on the right-hand side. There we go. Here comes the chase. Here comes the chase. Oh, I think he's just out. Oh, well, that's what happens. The warthog probably got a whiff of something, or a sixth sense happened within his belly that said, I need to get out of here. And the trap wasn't very well set on the left-hand side. The left-hand side was supposed to be the area that chased the warthog towards the waiting lionesses on the other side. But that is how it works. Lions only have about a 20% success rate. And, well, good afternoon. My name is Steve. I'm joined by Big James on camera. And, well, let's see if we can have a look at those lionesses now. They're probably looking a little bit dejected. The first ones that we saw, they're a little bit upset with themselves, if we can find them. I think they're on the right more, James. That's the male. Let's go back right to where those lionesses were before, please. A little bit. They're probably going to be quite obvious now. There we go. You can see at least 3 of them. And they're looking a little bit upset with themselves. And there, that seems to be a young male who probably jumped the gun a little bit, the one on the left. He jumped the gun just slightly, and, well, that caused the warthog to run. Sometimes it's all about patience, and if you can take your time, you'll be a little bit more successful. Sally, we are super excited to have you on the show, or on the broadcast. Glad we could show you the lions. Lions are very, very cool when they are doing something. Most of the time when we come past and we find lions, well, they're just flat. We arrived this afternoon and they all got up and started hunting a warthog. So how incredible was that? Very, very cool. But it seems as if the action has died down for the moment. And thank you for joining us this afternoon. If anything else does come aboard, we will most certainly be bringing it to you live. We are still live on YouTube, so please just Google SafariLive. We've still got another 2 hours or so please feel free to jump on board. We'd love to see you then, but thank you for your questions and comments, and we'll have to say goodbye for now, but until next time, good night. Hello everybody. Well, that was exciting. That was very cool. Would have been interesting if that male who had moved around on the left had actually moved a bit quicker. He had moved and then sat down in the grass, which gave the warthog more opportunity to see the others that were slowly trying to entrap him on the right. I think if he'd had a bit more skill and experience, he most certainly would have gone in and chased them in. But fantastic. We're going to see if we can get a bit closer and see who these lions are exactly. Probably the Olololos. But in the meantime, down to Sydney, who's searching for my favorite leopard.
Yeah, it does happen sometimes for the big cooperative hunters to lose the battles. Fortunately, the warthog survived. So I am still here looking for the little chief. The little chief, I saw him this morning and I left him around the Vuyotela pen and he just got disappeared. I cannot see the tracks coming out anyway. So I have been checking all these exit roads from the Vuyotela pen. I can't see his tracks. So he might be somewhere lying down in the same area. As he's just done with his carcass there that he caught yesterday early morning. And I think the carcass or the kill was not too big because his stomach, when I left him this afternoon, it was not that very big. It was showing that this cat wants something to eat more. When I left him, he was attempting to catch the mongoose. And maybe he's gonna wake up now because the wind and the weather is perfect. So now let's quickly go to David.
Well, Sydney has plans of looking for carnivore, and I have a different carnivore here that at least I found. And welcome to the Mara Triangle regular viewers. And these are the banded mungus, or sometimes we call them striped mungus. And they're taking advantage of that termite mound, which they patronize and live there in their huge colonies. Oops, it just went down, and there are more up there. Let's just wait for a few more seconds. There's some of the smallest carnivores we have in the world, but the smallest carnivore that we have here will be the dwarf mungus, which are much smaller. I would say maybe half the size of these banded mungus. I don't know why they sneak in. They're a bit skittish, but always move in big groups as they keep eating. Just chancing to see if any one of them might pop her head up. They might have walked away, and if they have walked away, we might also have to walk away. All right, Bungay, I think we walk away and move on. Sorry, Giraffe Girl have asked me a question. Lou, what's the question from Giraffe Girl? Giraffe Girl, yes, yay, Mungus. And having said that, Giraffe Girl, always good and a pleasure to hear your name. I want to show you, Giraffe Girl, something like a giraffe. Maybe just a giraffe, and then we're gonna move on. You see, Bungay? You wanna show Giraffe Girl giraffe? I hope Giraffe Girl, you're still there. Bungay is a joker. He's trying to tell me there are no giraffes. I never saw giraffes, and I knew there were giraffes somewhere. And maybe even an elephant in the background. Lucky you, Giraffe Girl. You got 2 giraffes for you. And these are the Maasai giraffes, and in the background we got some elephant. I don't know what's moving in front of the giraffe there. Could be a buffalo. I just can see it is back. Yeah, it's a buffalo. So we got almost in one frame buffaloes, giraffes, and elephants. Well done, Bungay. Buffalo in the front, giraffe in the middle, and Ellie at the back. And this makes the wilderness such a special place to be. When you see different species of animals making such a good gel. Zephyr, yes, we have been getting some great sightings, and more so of giraffes and coming out. And Zephyr, I'll tell you, they have been very cooperating in the sense that they have not moved away from us, and anytime we see them, they'll keep doing their business. That's a great comment, Zephyr. I like these 2 here. They just like going their business and eating the leaves of those plants. There's either a warthog that walked across or very close to that giraffe, and she very quickly put her head up, not knowing what it was. Getting just a little bit windy. Very good. Giraffes keep eating, and I hope, Giraffe Girl, you enjoyed the sighting of the giraffe as we move on. Hopefully I'll also see lions today, like Steve. We're going to be telling them now we start looking for cats and not anything else. Lions, possibly cheetahs, possibly leopards. And I am back. I'm a little bit jealous because Steve has lions, and I'm thinking I should also have lions of my own at one point. In the meantime, let's go back to Steve with his lions as I look for my own.
trying to get a better view of these lions, and it seems like it's the young members of the Olololo Pride. Just from what we've seen, there are quite a few vehicles around, so we're not going too much, well, any closer than we are at the moment. We are allowed off-road driving sort of permission, but when there's lots of vehicles, we have to stay further back due to the fact that, well, we could cause all sorts of drama out here. So it's better to just stay back. Everyone will be going home soon, and well, then we'll be able to go much closer to the lions and get a proper, accurate assessment. But due to the fact that I've counted at least 3-4 young males of a similar sort of age, there's no other pride that I know of in this area that have got males of that sort of age. So we're going to assume it is the Olololos, missing most of the adults. Only counted 9 individuals in total. So there's a good chance. A little bit further up, James, you can now see them moving off to the right there. And we'll be able to see. There they're walking. There's one, and they do seem to be young. And one on the right is a young male. Linda, indeed, we are very fortunate to be able to have the cameras that we have. If I'm not looking at the screen, I'm using my binoculars. That's how far away these lions are. And all the other people who come into these sightings, well, they've only got binos to use, but we've got the beautiful technology. Definitely young individuals. So 9 of them. Haven't yet identified an adult. But what's interesting is that they're definitely interested. They're definitely on the hunt. They're definitely hungry. Well, this pride seemingly is always hungry. Nothing fills their bellies for too long. Even 5 wildebeest that we had a month ago. Samsung, I couldn't tell you exactly when their last meal was, but we had the Olololos. What day was it? Was it Tuesday? I can't remember now. They had the buffalo, but that was the 3 adults with 2 male lions. They had a buffalo. But then we found the youngsters the next day, for 2 days actually. They looked quite full. We didn't find them with anything. But then 3 of the young males that I saw, I think 2 mornings ago, jumping over the pond or jumping over the drainage line, looking very comical. I wonder if anyone can remember what day of the week that was. I kind of fall into a bit of a bubble here. But they had eaten something relatively small. They were competing over an animal's spinal cord. It was 3 young males. And then the following morning, we found them moving up to try find the rest of the pride. It gets a bit chaotic with the pride of so many young males. There are 9 of them. They'll be spread out all the time because, well, the food resource is not as abundant as it was a little while ago. And, well, they're used to eating a lot and they're not used to going for days without food. And so, well, adults leave them more often than they used to because, well, anything they do catch for them, the youngsters will just completely outcompete them at the kill for, especially the young males. They're just a little bit too boisterous. Look at the attention on that one's face. Has it spotted another warthog? The good thing is it's walking in our direction, but the intention is clear, isn't it? The body language is clear. I think that's the pale lioness we saw before. I'll try and identify and see if she appears to be an adult, but I'm not 100% sure. It could be a youngster. It is difficult from this distance. Maybe she knows or can see another warthog in a burrow nearby. Maybe there's something else she spotted further afield. I'm having a quick scan and can't see anything. Maybe she's just looking at that boy and is going to attack him. That could be the case. He's looking around going, what is she looking at? I can't quite see it. You see that? Lions play on each other's behavior, play on each other's attention and go, okay, what are you looking at? Where are you? I can't see what you're looking at. I can't see it either. Very perceptive eyes in the long grass habitat. There could be something hidden away that we haven't seen. Some movement that happened. Chris, it all depends on if there's a pride turnover. If there's a pride turnover with regards to dominant males in the area, very likely the 1.5 to 2-year-old males could get pushed away. But for the moment, there doesn't seem to be too much of an uplift. If there are new males in the area, I haven't heard about them. And so, no, unless new males come in and dominate, the dominant males are apparently the Kichwa males of this pride. I thought we were spending some time with the triangle boys, but I'm not 100% sure if they're not even the same lions. A lot of people have got different names for animals out here, different prides, but 2 male lions were certainly with the pride for quite a lot of last week, and well, they didn't seem to have any interest in chasing these young males away. But for now, they're content in their pride lands under the protection of well, the pride itself and the Kichwa males that are moving around. And who knows, there could be some upheaval. There could be some nomadic young males moving in from the south, from the Sausage Tree Pride perhaps, and well, they would most certainly chase these young males away. But anyway, we're going to go all the way back down to Djuma in South Africa with Sydney, who's still on the search for the little chief.
So I cannot see the tracks for the little chief coming out from this block where I left him. So I'm just going to check again for the second time here, because no tracks are coming out of this block. But there has been quite a lot of other animals in the area, too much tracks for the elephants, and they were using the very same pathways. And I also saw a lot of tracks for the buffaloes as well. Maybe those tracks are also having an impact when it comes for us to see. Yeah, I will try by all means to find the little chief. This morning I left him here, right here. But now I can't find him, and there's quite a lot of impalas here and duikers by the other side of the Vuyotela pen. Yeah, quite a lot of these animals has been moving around because the weather is on their favor today. So maybe somewhere here we might be lucky. It's difficult to see. So the other animals cannot really chase them off. He can just give them a chance to pass and still carry on sleeping in the same area or doing his hunting. So this morning he was right here. No sign of Hosanna here at the moment. Hosanna might be hanging out somewhere around. Yeah. So there's still quite a lot of green trees. So by the pool I went there, I checked. I didn't see his tracks around there. And I went to also the Galagopan. There was no tracks. So he might be somewhere here by these bushes. He might be hiding somewhere here. So there's quite a lot of guari bushes at the moment. So now let's cross over to one of my colleagues.
Well, we got some exciting impalas here, and just look at one of the largest herds of impalas I've seen in the recent past. And I think Sydney, who had a lamb earlier, or one female impala with a youngster early on the drive. But this is what I would call a breeding herd. Some of the most social antelopes that I know of. All these being females, and wondering where the male is. They have very interesting social structure, unlike all the other antelopes, where sometimes you get one male, one female, or one male, 3 females. Well, that's the guy I've been looking for. Thank you, Bungiai. And that's the main male in this herd of impalas. We're just trying to count how many there are. And they got close to about 30. And if he'll choose to mate with one, he'll always do or make all the moves he wants. He'll always pick them up and find out if they're in estrus. And you can see how he put his lip up to what we say like grimacing, and he'll always sniff them at the back, or when they have a wee, he'll always smell the urine, and he can pick some hormones that will tell whether, a female is ready to mate. That's a youngster. You can see the small horns of that one young male there, who will not stay very long in the herd before he goes and joins other boys, forming what you call a bachelor club or bachelor herd. Look at that. Try and have a little nudge on each other. Get out of here. You look different. You got horns. You should not be here. Maybe. It's very strange. All the females are like, come on. You don't look like us. Go join the other boys. You're just about the right age. And I have always thought Impala's got 3 different colors. Bungay, do you think so? I mean, brown, a little bit tan, and maybe the white on the belly. And about the antelopes, they look pretty cute to me. Remember, this is a very interactive safari we're doing. Should you have any questions or comments, please send them through. And Christine, thank you. Those are the comments I'm talking about. And you're saying they look very pristine, and I agree with you 100%. And I've always tried to look at how clean the antelopes are. And I don't know what Steve and Sydney will think. And I'd want to tell them the comments from Christine that they are pristine and they look very neat. I don't know what they think. I've always thought their coats look like they've been combed with very fine comb, and the coat looking pretty good. The skin in very good shape. I don't know what Sydney and Steve will think, but yeah, Christine, I agree with you 100%. They look very pristine. The only ones that will have those 3 black stripes that you see on the back, which sometimes we say they use them as follow me sign. Should they be, scared, or should a cat come out of here and they run through the grass, when they jump, if you miss to see the black stripes, they'll always lift their tails up and it'll show some bit of white below the tail, which is always the definite follow me sign, and that's when they're in flight, jumping very high and making very long leaps. Rashni, why do some of the antelopes have horns and some do not? There are a few theories, Rashni, and one of the theories that I think hold water for me, horns basically will be used to fight. And you'll get certain antelopes, for example, the waterbacks, having very huge horns. And let's talk of the kudus, where they got very big horns. And when you see them walking through the bushes and they stop, I would say the horns always have them to blend in when they're out in the bush, because the horns look like branches or parts of trees. But coming out, like these impalas where they are, the males only will have the horns and not as big. And I don't know what is getting their attention there. I'll be finding out if it's a hyena or a predator of some sort. They may not have them, but when they'll have the horns and, the males of particular species, they may need them for fighting. But all the theories have been going around why some antelopes, Roshni, will have the horns and not others. What are you looking at, impalas? To me, it's definitely something they don't like. And my guess is would be a predator of some sort. Well, I'd like to know what time the impalas will have their lambs. Unlike in South Africa, where they have a very specific breeding season, we have seen here in East Africa, they may have the babies all around the year, but more so during the wet season. But if you go to South Africa, they have a particular season, and I'm trying to remember whether it's around November, December. Yes, maybe end of November or early December, around this time maybe, after a lot of rutting in the month of May and June, when they'll always have the youngsters. But in East Africa, I would guess it's more around the year. What did you spot there? Very good, Bungay. That's a waterbuck. And again, Roshni was talking about horns on antelopes, where the females of waterbucks will not have horns, just like the impalas. Very majestic walk towards the impalas. I don't think that's what the impalas were looking at. They must have seen some sort of predator of some sort, and they'll be finding out whether they're seeing lions like what Steve got.
Thanks, David. We are with certainly what I think is the Olololo pride, and I've counted 10 now in the long grass. They're all spread out all over the place. They definitely are hungry, and I think they're hoping that some unsuspecting animal might come walking through these open plains. They're all 40 to 30 meters apart from each other, apart from those two. Quite nice and close. And the good news is there is definitely at least one adult in the pride at the moment. We've moved a lot closer than we were, but there are still more vehicles around, so we're not going any closer than we are at the moment. But the good news is that soon they're all going to have to go, because they don't have the license to be out as late as we do. Aren't we lucky to be able to show you the wonders of the Mara after dark? It was a privilege that we have. And we've got Justin the Ascari on the back. And David was talking about impala, and about, do I think that they're beautiful and classy? And impala are definitely one of the most beautiful antelope around. It's one of the things that a lot of the students that I had back in the day would always get a bit bored about talking about impala, but you know, there's so many of them that we kind of get to the point of like, okay, too many impala, what do we talk about? But they are definitely probably one of the prettiest and most elegant animals. They do look very clean. They got a bit of a shine to them. Their coat always looks very, very clean. Any lady who washes her hair and uses very expensive shampoos will look at impala fur and go, ooh, I wish my fur shone like that. And that comes with absolutely no moisturizer or conditioner. But I tell you what, if these lions happen to come across a breeding herd of impala with their lambs at the moment, they would just eat them like popcorn. The Olololo pride, known for taking down large prey such as buffalo and many a wildebeest. The impala lambs, the reason why down in Djuma they drop at the same time is so that when a pride like this pride or the Unkuhumas get hold of them, well, they only eat a certain amount, and essentially most of them get past that sort of delicate early couple of weeks when they're very easily caught. But even when you find every predator in the bush eating impala lambs, shortly afterwards you still find so many youngsters associated with the herd. So it just goes to show, I mean, they reckon impala haven't evolved for 6 million years. Goes to show that their strategy works, and everything they do on the landscape works very, very well. Up here, though, my information, or what I've seen with impala, very different. The horns are much bigger. It doesn't seem to be the same sort of rutting season we find down south. But what we're definitely seeing at the moment is a whole lot of action happening with the males. Males are running around doing their thing. I've only heard a little bit of the roaring. Nothing like we hear down in the April-May period in Djuma. But maybe that's still to come. I wonder if David knows about the rutting season up here. Are there possibly 2 peaks, like really big peaks after the rains that we have? Now, the small rains we're supposed to have, and earlier in the year, April being the peak, being the big rains, because there have been quite a number of baby impala out on the plains, but their age and size would indicate that they were probably born in at least July time, maybe even August, by the size of them. So very hard to say. I don't think, in my opinion, there is a peak. I think they might just breed when they breed, and the abundance of other animals on the plains sort of helps them in the flooding of the market that they have to do down in Djuma so as to survive the perils of the numerous predators that enjoy impala veal. Even baboons and rock pythons have been known to snack on impala lambs. I've found martial eagles with them, baboons as well as pythons. Okay, so David's confirmed that they rut throughout the year, but there seems to be a peak sort of June, July after the really heavy rains. That seems to be the peak period. So that's very interesting, because I've also seen a number of Impala lambs that are very different ages, months apart even, which is why I came up with the assumption that they've probably just done what they do throughout the year, kind of what the Sesame are doing and what kudu do down south and zebra. No real peak, but the reason for Impala having a peak is because of our enormous seasonality in Djuma. In South Africa, enormous seasonality. We only get one rainfall period and then a very long dry period, and that has led to adaptations of breeding. And the Impala, because they are the hors d'oeuvre for most animals on the landscape, they need to flood the market so as to have a fighting chance of their offspring getting through the early months. Zebra, we know their strategy is the youngsters pretty much melt into the herd and just disappear. They're easily sort of hidden from the predators by their camouflage and the parental behavior. Wildebeest having a sort of December breeding period when they all drop at the same time down in Djuma. Very similar to what we see in the migration, except, well, in the Serengeti, not that we've documented much of that for you, but they definitely fall in December time, being the peak. And that is when the adults will have the best grazing time and grazing period so as to provide enough milk for ever-growing youngsters. You can see James is doing a great job here of jumping between lion after lion after lion, and you can tell all of their heads up. They're all very keen on catching something to eat. There is a nice breeze blowing, and, well, hopefully the Olololo Pride will catch something. So, something we've seen a lot of already this afternoon on the open plain. Sydney has found some down in Djuma.
I've got some very relaxed elephants at the moment, and these elephants are just stationary feeding. It's quite a small herd, but it's led by very big and old elephants. I can see just by looking at them. And one of them I saw that is pregnant here amongst this herd. So there's a baby there. So the baby is hiding somewhere right in front. I think the baby is about to come to the road. Look at that. So the elephants, they give birth after a long period of pregnancy of about 22 months. That is why elephants, when having babies, they can be very much aggressive because of that longevity of their pregnancy. Normally, elephants, they are very peaceful animal. Only when they've got babies, when they've got injuries, when the bullish on mast is when they can be dangerous. Mast, it is the unpredictable condition which is caused by the level of testosterone. The hormone responsible for the sexual desires is the ones who drives the elephants on mast, the males. So I'm just gonna drive forward. That is quite a long gestation period indeed, 22 months. So these animals don't want anything to come near their babies when they are having babies after such a long period of pregnancy. Oh, there's a small one here. That one looks small. Look at that. Oh, this one looks cute. You can see the little one is right there, the calf. So these calves, they've got to stay together with the adults for a period of about 16 years. So they will be nursed by the mother for about 3 to 4 years and still remain in the very same herd. And when they're getting 16 years is when a lot of them starting to become independent. You can see the little one is trying to move the ears. Mitchell, the elephants, They don't have a specific time to go on mast. Who goes on mast is the male who are older than 12 and a half years, because that is when they reach maturity. Normally, a lot of elephants, from my own personal experience, I have seen a lot of them going on mast during the winter season. So now, after winter season, you can still see them on mast, but a lot of elephants, I have seen them during the winter season going on mast a lot. They can go on mast at any time of the year. So elephants are part of the pectoral mammals. The pectoral mammals are those mammals who gives their little ones some milk from the front, between the front legs. Those are the pectoral mammals. If you check, most of the animals here, their mammary glands, they are between their hind legs. So for the elephants, it's different. Deborah, the elephants, they start to learn how to use their trunk after a couple of months after birth. So they start depending a lot on milk, and as they're starting to eat the vegetation, which will take time because vegetation is much harder. It's not like the herbivores, what elephants prefers the most. It's not like the animals such as the impalas who will be starting from the grass. So here, elephants, the young ones likes to imitate what the adults are doing. So they learn how to use their trunk very quickly, but mostly it's after 3-4 months. Anne-Marie, I am not lucky yet with the elephant giving birth. It's something I am hoping to see one of the good days. So I have seen the elephant with the very newborn babies, but during birthing, I haven't been lucky yet. So you can see these elephants are starting to have nutritious vegetation. Right in front of us, the trees are starting to get green. All the trees here are starting to show the development of new leaves. So today they are just moving the ears, but the weather is very much perfect for them. It's not that very warm anymore. Yes, since this morning it was very warm, but now it's nice and cool. It looks like there's quite a lot of small babies here. So now let's quickly go to David, who's got the ground hornbills.
Thank you, Sydney. We are seeing some very, I would say, hornbills that we rarely see. And I'm not sure here they are doing a little courtship or they are having a little fight. And the two fully grown ones and a youngster, which is either trying to separate the two. You see the one in the middle there doesn't have the red wattle. That's a youngster. And this is called the ground hornbills. Quite endangered. Looking at the IUCN list, they're on the red list because they're losing their habitat a lot. And you can see the red wattle. And losing their habitat, I'm talking about logging. They like nesting on very huge trees. And unfortunately, man, being man, is logging the trees for wood or for fuel wood or for building. And then they don't have places to nest, and the numbers have been going down. So we're trying to unpack this. That's correct. We could catch more audience. Ground hornbills, we call them. So So she jumps up there. You notice you don't see the white wings until they open their wings up. You might only think they're all black. But once they jump, oops, you see that? That's when you see the wings. I think they're having a little go on each other. But look at them. One of them has some huge wattle, who I guess would be the male. And they'll always use them for display, especially when they're courting the females. Now the one in the middle doesn't have any red in herself, and that's because she is a youngster. One thing I know about these birds here, they got very strong beaks. Their beaks are like chisels, and I'm saying they're just having a courtship because if it was a fight, those beaks would be hurting each other very much. They'll get beetles from the ground. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to the Mara Triangle Game Reserve in Kenya. My name... Very good, sorry about that. My name is David, and with me on camera today is Bungei. We've got some very nice hornbills that we want to show you, and they're having what I call some courtship dance. And these hornbills are rather difficult to spot. They have been suffering. Look at that. So initially I thought they were fighting, but I'm now convinced it's just a bit of courtship, a display they got. We call them Southern Ground Hornbills, and we're coming to you live 100% from the Mara Triangle in Kenya. And the safaris we do, or the drives we do, are live and very interactive. So should you have any questions or any comments, please send them through using hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Now, these birds have been suffering a lot of habitat loss, and how beautiful to see them in flight. And you can see the white wings. Are you going to perch somewhere, or are you going to keep flying? Very good job, Bungei. They fly and they're going to perch somewhere, or they're going to roost there maybe for the rest of the night. Keeping going, keeping going. You want to come back, or you want to stay there? Excellent. And maybe that's where they're going to spend the rest of the night. Very good. And you can see the white wings, you only see them in flight. And look at the red wattle around the head and the neck. The male swan being more conspicuous than on the female. Where do you want to go again? Changing the house where you're going to spend the night? Looking for a new home? Or do you want to come back on the ground? They spend most of their time on the ground feeding beetles, insects, but they have also been known even to crack tortoises, and they crack shells of tortoises to feed on them. Crack them open, the shell, and then of course get the soft muscles or soft tissues inside the shell bodies. They keep changing position. I don't know exactly where they want to be, but my guess is the female is playing a little bit hard to get. Roshni, very happy to know you're still tuned in, and you say they're gorgeous in flight, and yes, they are. And until Roshni, they open their wings in flight, that's the only time you see the white on the feathers, which is so colorful. So we have that beautiful white and black, and then complemented by the red wattle, and I think the male is the one on the left there. Thank you, Roshni, for that great comment. Yuri shall tell you these hornbills will nest on trees, and that's your question, do they nest on trees? And yes, they do. And one of the challenges we are facing now in Africa is logging, and they normally prefer very strong, big, solid trees, which happens that the same trees are very good for wood, either for furniture or for building construction, or sometimes for wood fuel or making, charcoal or using as firewood. And by that, they have been losing the trees to nest on. And there's a bit of concern now, and more so in South Africa than in East Africa, where they have lost so much of the trees, and the numbers of these hornbills have been going down. And that was very exciting. I don't remember the last time I saw these hornbills, and that was a moment of excitement for me and Bungay. Well, I want to thank you very much for having watched. And again, as I said, my name is David. We're coming to you live from the Masai Mara and Mara Triangle. And with me was Bungay. We'll continue broadcasting as usual on YouTube. Keep watching. But in the meantime, we'll take you to Steve, who got some lions.
Well, how interesting is that? I have only heard of ground hornbills having scraps and fighting each other. I've found dead hornbills. Ground hornbills, I think one that's killed another one, but I've never seen it. I've read a lot about how they can be quite aggressive to each other, either accepting one new into the family or killing it outright. Well, we are still with our lions. They are, well, haven't done much. Same position as before. And we've just been admiring the sun setting in the distance. Beautiful skies. Most of the lions' heads are still up, though, hoping something is going to materialize for them. But I have no doubt in the next little while, as temperatures have really cooled down, that the pride will get up and start moving. But the sad thing is all their intention and their eyesight is looking towards the marsh, which is on the other side of the road from where we are. And if they do go into that area, well, we can only follow them along the road. We won't be able to go off-road. Rightly so. It's a high-use area. And they've not allowed off-road driving there, which is very good. But isn't that beautiful? What a picture. Nice peaceful moment before the pride gets up and does something dangerous, perhaps. So we followed 3 individuals into the forest yesterday morning. I think it was yesterday morning. And they probably met up with the rest of these individuals, or those 3 are still missing. It's hard to say, really. At least 9 here. I thought I counted 10. I haven't managed to count 10 a second time. I've counted 9 numerous times, which means that there are at least, how many? 8 missing. 8. Probably somewhere else, maybe on the other side of the road. Maybe they've caught themselves a buffalo already, and these ones have left out. But that's essentially how breakaway prides form. Exactly what's happened here is the pride is split up due to food availability, and, well, 9 one way, 8 the other way. And so essentially splinter prides form that way, with the youngsters keeping with their parents. Janine, a very good question you've made there. Pretty much that's what they reckon. American football players put a little bit of black underneath their eyes, apparently to absorb a little bit more light in the daytime, or to reflect it. I'm not 100% sure, to dim it a bit. But the white underneath the eye, they reckon, you see it on leopards as well, is to maybe add a little bit more light, sort of absorption in the nocturnal hours of the day, or of the night, should I say. So it is an observation. They do think it is, but we can't prove anything like that. That's why the cheetah's got that black tier over here, because we think maybe that is the black that's to sort of dampen a little bit of the light, because it's quite bright, and the black will actually sort of dampen that slightly, whereas white will enhance. So that, together with their beautiful eyesight at night. It's just a little bit extra that the body's gone towards to make their viewing even better. But here we've got the young male who did not partake at all in the hunt. He stayed all the way at the back, and if you were with us when we first found the lions, this is the one we found first, and he sat back all the way at the back and just waited for everybody to do all the work, which is so typical of young male lions in a pride. And if you ever see a young male lion running, either mom has caught something or there's a big male lion after him, as David last week or the week before had Kapuli chasing a young male all over the place. There's only 2 times you see male lions running, unless they're young males, unless they're playing with each other. But if you just see them running through the open plains, there's 2 options. He's either can hear mum has killed, or he's being chased by an adult. Well, it is getting quite dark. As you saw, the sun is setting. So Lou, we're going to change into the IR spectrum in a moment if you are ready for us to do so. And then we'll be IR, infrared light, so that we can see just as well as lions do at night, as we are not blessed with the black and white vision. Thank you very much. There we go. And you see the color change. And here we are now with the lions in black and white. And you can see how well they blend in to the long grass. I mean, James is going to try and show you the others there. See how quickly you spot them. Okay, that was pretty quick. There we go. There's a puddle of lions. I think there's 4 there. It's hard to say. Definitely 4. But the one closest to us, there seems to be an adult female. There's at least 1 adult that I've noticed in this pride. There might be 2. I haven't really been able to get close enough to have a look. The youngsters are getting so big now that they're all looking so similar. Tanith, do you want to know what instinct or what sense animals rely on most? Well, it really depends on what animal you're talking about. If you're a lion, eyesight is crucial in the darkness, and so is hearing. But then, obviously, if you're a nocturnal animal, eyesight, hearing, and smell really need to be at a very heightened level. Most animals have got, or most prey animals have got very good sense of smell and a very good sense of hearing. They've given up the color spectrum. Although they're not trying to hunt, they've given up the color spectrum in their eyesight so as to see better at night. I'm not going to say that their eyesight is incredible at night, but most herbivore animals' eyesight is far superior to ours. We can't see anything in the darkness. Whereas lions, well, they're able to. Well, James, we've got a walk by over here. He's going to come right past the front of us. This young boy. There he goes. Here's my head. Hello, boy. He's going to go over to his sisters that are over there. He's feeling a bit lonely. He feels like he needs a little bit of a grooming session. So eyesight for nocturnal hunting animals is very, very important, but then so is their hearing and so is sense of smell. So it really is a much and a muchness out here. I reckon the 6th sense, though, in a lot of the animals we find out here is probably one of the most heightened things when you're a wild animal. That sort of feeling that something's about to happen, especially if you're the hunted. And like that warthog earlier, I think he might have just, either he saw something, we had our camera panned a bit left, that 6th sense that was like, uh-oh, something's watching me. Have you ever felt that feeling? You feel like someone's watching you? It's your tummy, it's your 6th sense saying something's going on. So a lot of us don't pay too much attention to our 6th sense. I hold it very highly in my arsenal of senses. And I must say, being out in the African wilderness, your eyesight, your smell, and your hearing becomes very, very acute. Very, very acute compared to living in the city, as I've said many a time, due to the fact that in cities we try and hide or try and block our nose to the stench and close our ears off to the loudness, and, well, we don't see anything because, well, we're not looking, really. As out here, your senses keep you alive. So I hope I've answered that question for you. It really is animal dependent, and when you look at an animal, look at the size of its nostrils or its eyes or its ears. They'll give you a good idea of what is the most important sense for that individual. The bat-eared foxes we've spent some time with, ears obviously are important. Also, as a canid, got a very good sense of smell. Kudu, well, hearing is everything for kudu. They even walk very, very quietly. So do their cousins, the nyala. Okay, well, hopefully these lions are going to be getting up shortly and maybe show us a little bit of what their nocturnal vision can do. But while we do that, Sydney down in Djuma is looking at a very dry watering hole.
So you can see that the water hole is dry at the moment. This is the Buffalo's Hook Dam, which used to have a lot of water before. Now I've got the birds who are looking for some drink here. The doves, these are the Cape turtle doves. You can see how to distinguish between them and the other doves. You check here by the neck, they've got kind of a necklace. You can see they're looking for some water there. These birds are some of those species which can be able to produce milk for their little ones. So these kind of birds, they do make milk from the breaking down of the epithelial cells in their crop, and they regurgitate it and give it to their babies. The bird milk, dove milks, in terms of the fat content, is way much higher than the cow milk. But when they are giving out milk, they don't eat, they avoid eating rocky rocks, and they avoid eating fruits because they don't want those kind of hard materials to contaminate the milk when they are regurgitating to their little ones. They can spend a week or two without eating at all so that they don't contaminate the milk with the hard material as the little ones are going to battle. So there is an interesting traditional belief on this. I come from Venda originally, and we believe that if you've got quite a lot of bad luck, you must have to go and get water where the birds, such as the doves, specifically the doves, is doing the water bathing. If you take that water and wash yourself from that water, you will be washing away all the bad luck. So you can see that now this afternoon I am going to be looking for Hosanna. Hosanna, I saw him earlier this morning, but now I can't find his tracks. I have been looking everywhere. Maybe he's somewhere high up in one of the trees. So now I'm heading back in order to see if I can find the little chief. I have tried earlier this morning as well to try and relocate the den, the Djuma clan of the hyenas, as they have moved from the den we used to see them to another anonymous den, because I've been to all the other 3 different old dens and they were not there this morning. So maybe we might be lucky and find them by one of these old or a new den. Quite a lot of areas suitable for them to stay in, which has been dug by the artwork. So now let's cross over to David, who just has found some lions.
Well, good luck, Sydney. And we just got some lions here. I said earlier I'll be trying to get lions of my own because I was a bit jealous with Steve having like 10 lions. I got maybe more than that, but the lighting is not as good. And we are in infrared. It's rather dark here, and infrared can only capture a particular distance. But my guess is this is the Marsh Breakaway Pride of Lions, and about 12 of them. I'm not sure what exactly they want to do. So what I want to try and do is to get maybe a different road and see whether they can get a little bit closer, because it's very dark. The one big advantage of infrared, it helps us not to influence the animals, and we make sure we don't shine any artificial light with them just in case they want to hunt, and we don't interfere or affect their behavior. So I think I just want to move, and hopefully I'll get a road that will take me close to where they are. There's a big marsh between me and them, so I just need to go around and see whether I'll get a different road and get close to them. So putting on my spotlight now just to make sure I can see the road and know where I'm going. But should I see something like now on the way, I'm gonna switch it off and just put my infrared, or Bungay will put infrared to the subject or to what animal will be watching. Harja, good question there, whether there are any news on the one female pregnant that we're expecting to pop up any time now. No news as yet. And tomorrow morning, if you'll be able to tune in, that will be my destination. And from my own personal countdown, I'm not an expert and I'm not a vet doctor. From what I saw on that female, from her belly and how swollen were her mammary glands, I'm thinking anything under 48 hours, she might be dropping the calves, if not dropped by now. She disappeared for the last 2 days, and in that pride of lions, there is the lead female that we call Kinktail. She got a knot on her tail, and she's the lead female. The last I saw them, it was Kinktail and that pregnant female, and they walked in an area that I guessed was meant to be their maternity area, or where I would guess they're going to look for a gynecologist in some cliffs and rocks, and that's where most likely Kinktail will stay with that female as she would bring down the babies. So stay tuned and let's find out what happens tomorrow when I swing by that area. They already got 3 calves at the moment. 2 that's about 11 weeks old, 1 that's about 7 weeks old, and the one that's about 7 weeks old had either a brother or sister that, you know, we lost the other day, and we do not know what happened. But the ones that are 11 weeks old now, we think they're going to make it to maturity. And talking of lions, let's go back to the Olololos.
Thanks, David. Lions everywhere. Well, our lions that were looking like they were going to get up soon have pretty much put their heads down. There is a nice cool breeze coming across us, so maybe that's what's going on. Maybe there's anything on the wind. So to jump back to my previous discussion about senses, we often see lions when the wind picks up. Oh, bit of a fur ball coming. Watch out. Not for sensitive viewers if you are a sympathetic vomiter. Fur balls can sometimes be quite gross, but it looks like he's got it under control, that young male. Fur balls are generated, swallowed it back down, generated by not just licking themselves and each other, but also by the food that they ingest. Lions will obviously, when they feed, there's no time for being nice and plucking the fur. They just go all out, bone and fur and everything ingested, and they need to regurgitate that fur from time to time. It just clogs up in the tummy, and there's no enzymes in the belly to break down that fur, so out it will come, often eating grass to do so. But we were talking about senses before, and my experience with lions is often the wind picks up and the wind blows across them. They'll pick up on the smell of something, or the wind will encourage them to start moving, and then they walk generally across the wind, and when they smell something, they move upwind towards whatever it is that they smelt, and then they use their eyesight and hearing to locate whatever it is that might be hiding or moving. Obviously, depending on the food resource. Okay, well, let's quickly go down to Sydney with a very spotted predator.
So look at that. I have got quite a beautiful animal there. He's now right in the middle of the tree. So it looks like that tree has got the branches right now at the Y branch of the tree. You can see the long tail which is going up there. This is the genet. So genets, they eat insects. Sometimes they also catch some of the birds. I have seen a genet eating a hornbill, a yellow-billed hornbill before. So the genets, they've got a very distinctive smell, and they use that as an anti-predation strategy. They also use it in order to communicate for the territoriality. So they do mark their territories from those kind of distinctive smell from their anal glands. They are much more active during the night. They are nocturnals. And it's one of those shy animals. Today we are very lucky. The weather is too good for them. MDR, I agree with you. This is not an easy animal to find, nice and close and not shy today. It's one of those animals, you just see it, few seconds, it's gone. So, but look at that very long tail. It's got very colorful spots there. The spots tells you that these animals can be able to hide nicely. Look at the head and the ears. It looks beautiful. So you can see that this animal is not aware that we are viewing him. So I can see that where we are not moving, and we found him just like this. So when I saw the tail when passing, I thought it was a tiger snake. And then when I looked carefully, I saw that this is a genet. You can see his check. Rosalind, they do communicate, make use of their sense of smell when it comes to the territoriality, just same like how the lions does when they mark their territories. So I haven't heard the genet making noise. The call they make, I don't know it, but when I grew up in the villages, genets used to come and eat the chickens a lot. So they are very much silent animals. This is quite a lovely sighting. So he might be staying in that tree. Maybe there is a hole because they are staying in the holes. There is one I know that I have seen during the day on several occasions when getting to Chitwa Dam. Right on that road, there is one big genet staying there. I saw he was trying to catch a bird and he fell on the ground one day. You can see there's some insects flying. Anna-Marie, I am really enjoying this sighting at the moment. The genet, when they are wet, you can pick up their scent from very far. Where there's a genet, I know I can recognize the genet from the smell. When they are wet specifically, it's very easy. Also, if they mark their territories, their smell is so very distinctive. So you can pick it up from far. Look at that now, it's moving a little bit there. Maybe it's just stretching. I'm sure it's not about us. We are not very, very close to him. There's quite a distance between us and him. Firebird. Birds also got eaten by the genet. You have to be very careful. So the genets, they are arboreal. You can also find them on the ground, but they prefer to stay up by the trees. The trees that are getting decomposed and the trees that has got big holes in the middle, that is where they're staying. And it's very rare to see the baby genets. I never saw baby genets before. NTR, the genets are nocturnal. And if you see them during the day, it means they're only looking for some diet because they are not winning when they are going for hunt. These kind of animals, they are much more active at night. Just when the sun goes down, you will see, and they hunt here by the open areas. And the problem is they are so fast. When they pick up something, our movement, they go very quickly. We do see them most of the time, but to show you is difficult because when we are trying to get them, they get disappeared. So you can see moving the ears all the time. Look at that. He must be listening to the birds there. So how is relaxed against those trees? The chances are very high, Mario. The genets, they can catch, but mostly they prefer the small things such as the rodents and birds. They can easily catch the bush babies, but bush baby is so fast. Yeah, it won't be an easy exercise. The genets, they can run very quickly on the ground, but up by the trees they can climb, but they are not as good as those ones. The bush babies, they are not an easy catch. Look at those beautiful round eyes there. This is a beautiful sighting. Look at that. It's quite a lovely animal. It's just that we can't see the whole body. But this is a very long tail. So this is a large spotted genet. We do have the small spotted genets here in South Africa. I have seen them before. And this one is the large spotted genet. You can even see the large tail. So the small spotted genet has got a small tail and a small body size. Kathy, the genet, they don't fall under the felines or the felidae, the family of cats. They fall under the Viverridae. So Viverridae is for this kind of genets. So it doesn't include the cats. Yes, they look alike, but they are not closely related. Genets, they are closely related to the mongoose. They are not closely related to the cats. So I can hear a francolin is making noise. I wanted to check how is he going to respond about that because they also catch the francolins. So now let's quickly go back to Steve, who's got some lions.
Well, thank you, Sydney. Well done for finding the spots. I know everyone is excited to see a genet. We don't often get to see one for longer than about a second or two. And, well, finally, there is some movement in the ranks. Not quite sure what they have seen, but they're listening. They're staring in the distance, and there's something is being heard. You can tell the body language is indicating that something is going on over there. So lion senses often, if they smell something, they'll go in that direction. If it's daytime and they see something, well, they'll go and catch it if they can see it. But sometimes it's the sounds, and the sounds that we spend a lot of time down in Djuma paying attention to is the alarm calls. And the alarm calls that animals do when they're dying. And I have said this before, so I do apologize if I repeat myself to anybody. But to get animals, to count lions, hyena, research will actually play loud audio calls of a buffalo or a duiker or something in a highly distressed sound. And well, by doing that, the animals from a distance come running, and then you can count them. You can do sort of a census on nocturnal predators that you have. And they've done a lot of hypothesis testing on why does an animal make this very weird bleating sort of sound, you know, like sometimes it can be quite high pitched, but it's generally a bleating sort of death bellow, and they wonder why do they do that, and they figured, you know, let's work it out. I mean, it doesn't scare the animal into letting it go. Small frogs and some crickets will do that. They terrify you if you try to grab them. It's a frightening sound. That makes you jump out of your socks. But when a small antelope gets caught, it definitely doesn't frighten the lion or the leopard or the cheetah, that sound. It also doesn't attract the attention of their fellows, unless it's a buffalo. Often you'll find impala will actually come back in, or kudu will come back and investigate their dying friend without having to actually defend it. It's like, okay, well, I noticed that you are being eaten. I might as well watch you being eaten. At least it's not me. But what they have realized is that that sound attracts predators far and wide. They come running as quickly as they can if they hear that bellow sound. We hear that in Djuma all the time. Deka, impala when they get caught. Also sometimes buffalo or zebra when that happens. And we hear it. We know immediately what's going on. There's a predator killing something. And what that does is the animal does it because, we go back over to lions, and the animal does that because it's that last opportunity for some inter-specific or intra-specific competition for a lion or a leopard or a hyena or something to come in from close range and chase the predator off, or make the predator let go of you while it's still trying to maybe throttle or suffocate. And we've seen it many a time in the Sabi Sands. Here we go, got some playtime happening. Seen it many times in the Sabi Sands, how quickly the hyena respond to Hosana and Tingana. They are there in an absolute flash, and it gives the animal an opportunity to get away. That high-pitched squeal of a warthog, there's nothing quite as ear-shattering as a warthog squeal. And well, the three I've seen, Hukumuri killed twice and Tingana killed one, nothing was attracted by that squeal. It might have just been due to the time of day. Okay, well, that is it. The lions are up and they're moving in, well, kind of the wrong direction for what I would have hoped, but that the wind is coming from the left-hand side. They're going to walk across this wind until they can pick up on any sort of smell. And on our way into the lion sighting, to our left, over this big mound in the road, was an enormous herd of buffalo that the lions had absolutely no idea about. Well, they're walking in the right direction for those buffalo, because there's nothing quite as smelly when it comes to herbivore animals as a herd of buffalo moving through. And they leave behind a trail of smell. Well, our lions are moving. We're going to see if we can keep up with them. But back over to David, who's not far away, and let's see what his lions are up to.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Steve, your lions had to go away, and it could be the same scenario here. And I got lions walking very faintly from a distance. You may not see them very well, but this is what we call the marsh breakaway pride, and I think they are stalking something. At the moment, we are using infrared and very difficult to see anything. Could be only one from a distance there, and they just moved away from where we are. I went around and came so close to them, but they were on this little dry waterhole here. And then they're walking in very tricky marsh just to drive through, which most likely I can drive through and spin the tires and dig myself in and maybe stay there for the next couple of days. So what I want to do, I'll back up again and see if they can get another angle to go around and see if I'll be lucky to see these lions. But something tells me they might be looking for something to hunt. When it gets dark like this, they'll always take advantage of the darkness, because most herbivores may not see as well, like the carnivores. So I'm going to use just my spotlight a little bit to see if they can know where they have gone. And they're all spread out and making a small little V, and that's what they do when they want to hunt, and then they lay an ambush, and then one lioness, if you can see something there, Bungay, keep going, and then one lioness is going to do the chase, and they all run and bring down the would-be prey. This one is very close to us here, and I can tell you, something tells me they're going to hunt. I'm just going to put one of my lights on there, because if you look on the left to Bungay, there's one female here. Let me just park here, and you see that one there. She just laid down. I'm going to stop there. So if you move to your left a little bit, right there somewhere. Well done. Arun, it depends on the size of the pride and how long you're asking they can go without food. And you can see that one is moving with a bit of intent now. I've seen lions going even for 5 days without food. 5 days without food. Again, depending on the size of the pride, depending on the age of the lions and the availability of food. Like during the migration, we have seen these lions in the last few months. They have almost made a kill every other day, and not because they were hungry, it's just because food was available. But during the green season, when we say it's quiet and the migration is gone and not as much food, they might kill one buffalo or giraffe, and they might go for 3, 4, 5 days before making another kill. That's exactly what transpires. So the size of the pride, the age in the pride, and of course the availability of food. Certain areas have more prey than others, but I'll be surprised a lion can comfortably go for 5 days without eating. So long as they can get a bit of water to drink, I've known them to survive for 5 days before they go for another hunt. So it's in that direction that Bungay is trying to show us where I think the zebras and the topis are, and this is what these lions are aiming at. In the morning I was with the Ololo pride that Steve has, and they made 3 attempts for a kill and they failed dismally. I wasn't very impressed, because initially they started with a hippopotamus and they didn't do very well, and after about 15 minutes they saw an eland. That was a worse strategy, and they finished by trying to bring down 2 warthogs. And I'm talking 2 warthogs of about 10 male youngsters, and that could have been just a small snack for them. Now, this spread of lions is called the marsh breakaway, and I'm thinking they might be doing something. Keep looking. A lot of patience is very important here, so we'll keep watching and find out what they do. And I think Steve has caught up with his lions.
Thanks, David. Well, I'm speaking very quietly now because the lions are all going to walk right past our car. It's always very cool when they do. We've driven up ahead to get in front of them. Obviously, there's plenty of options for them to walk. There's no road or pathway that we're blocking. Oh, and I was hoping they were going to walk in front, and they've decided to walk behind the car. Oh, there we go. Here comes furball time. Watch yourself if you don't like this sort of thing. Sneezing, sneezing. Right in front of us now. That's my head. Hello. Hello, you cheeky lion. You just see the hair on the throat. Young male. Can just hear them walking next to the car now. This is always very special. Just going behind now. There we go. Hello. Lou says the young male is like a 16-year-old trying to do a Movember, but on his chin, of course. His Movember is all about the moustache. There we go. Here comes another one. Is there going to be a head rub? There generally is when they walk up to each other. Ah, here we go. Oh, and a body slam. Body slam. I wouldn't mind being a lion for a day, just to be boisterous and to play with each other the way they do. But I'm going to have to move as they've all repositioned themselves right behind our car. Evening cuddles indeed. I'm just going to turn the car back very slightly so that we can actually see them doing their thing without that little shimmer we're getting from the side of the roof. There we go. There's a little lion cuddle puddle. And the lights you can see in the distance up on the hill are Ngama Mara, the lodge where we are positioned just behind. So, oh, what did you hear? Time for a lick. We still have three slowpokes coming from the other side. They'll be catching up, and we'll officially be able to count how many lions now. Here we go. This is what we generally see with lions in the evening. Isn't that gorgeous? They look like 3 males. I think the one closest to us is a male as well. Definitely the 2 at the back are male. The one closest to us might be a female. MDR, a sweet snuggy pile indeed. Yeah, well, this is when lions are behaving nicely. Here we go. Lick under the chin. That's the nice spot. Oh, that is the spot. But when they catch something and they're feeding on it, well, no one's friendly then. This is very important bonding that lions go through. Every time, imagine your family, every time you put a meal on the table, you all fought each other physically with it, with tooth and nail. Well, if you wanted to do the same thing the following evening, there'd have to be some sort of making up during the day, some loving, some attention, some sorries and please, and and so lions need to constantly reaffirm those bonds, because, as I said, once the bloodlust is in the nose, well, it can be all very, very, very aggressive. There seem to be 3 young males now. And these bonds that you see, if they do form a coalition, they start off from a very young age as young males, and then eventually will become breeding males together. Kathleen, if these young males get pushed away because of maybe a pride takeover, whatever it might be, it all depends on how old they are at the time and how many of them essentially become part of that coalition. And that essentially means, well, will depend on when they become dominant. Because obviously if there's 9 of you, you'll be able to become dominant a little bit earlier, because you're able to really outcompete a single or 2 or 3 males. So they won't disperse very far. But what generally happens with young male lions is they disperse quite far from their home, from their natal area, due to the fact that they just don't quite have the necessary skills and experience or aggression to really compete with big dominant males who've got the big mane, got the dominance, got the battle scars. And while invariably the young males will move from this territory to the next one, they'll meet someone that doesn't like them, they'll move to the next one and the next one, and by the time they become dominant, they can be all the way the other side of the Serengeti, and then they've had enough scraps, enough battles, enough sort of experience to then decide, well, I'm going to settle down right here and I'm going to take this territory. And that is kind of what happens. And that is essentially what happens with cats, is it's the males that move. The females, generally, mum will make a place for them. When it comes to leopards, mum will make a place for them within her territory. But lions, well, lionesses will stay in the pride for life. And the reason why lions are in prides in the first place is because of big prey animals they like to catch, namely the African buffalo.
I am trying to hear what is happening here. I can hear some of the warning calls, or maybe impalas are just chasing each other from the other side. Here I have got the big buffalo, and it's just a lonely buffalo. This buffalo, you can see that he just escaped danger. It looks like he was caught by the lions. Look at that. You can see those marks that something pinned the very strong tooth there. And also, if you check on his body going up, you can see that this buffalo has just survived danger. I'm just going to reverse so that you can see nicely the top part again. You will see that this buffalo survived danger. So it might have been caught by a pride of lions. You can see there as well where the lions likes to grab. You will see now where the lions likes to climb up and catch them from. You can see also got some blood coming out there. So you can see one of the lions might have managed to climb on top and grab him from there, while the others were pulling him from the tail. So we can go back to show you nicely from the tail again now, so that you can be able to see those kind of tooth marks there, that this has been a very big fight. You can see he nearly lost his tail, and now the flies are just coming there. So this one, I can promise you, it's not as a result of disease or ticks. He has been caught by the lions and survived. Indeed, this looks painful. This buffalo at this stage is just by himself. The other ones are not here. It means the other ones managed to escape danger and he's here. And this morning I've just heard that the buffalo tracks were spotted in the area. So maybe he's going to stand here. We might end up seeing quite a lot of other injuries. But yeah, he is badly injured by the tail. So it will take time for him to recover. When the buffaloes are at this stage is when they can be dangerous. Because they've been threatened, and if anything comes closer here, he's going to fight it big time. So this is one of the big males, the Dakar boys or the pathfinders, those that walks in front by the head. Giraffe girl, the predators, cooperative predators such as lions, or the pursuit predators, those predators who hunt as a group, when they give up, they give up. You might find that already they caught something else somewhere. Or else, if they are not winning, they might still come closer looking for any other animals. But here, because of the blood, this can attract more animals. Even hyenas might be now wondering who is dead around here, because the blood is dripping. I can see there now, if you can show us very closer, there is even some strings of blood coming out there with water. So that is what's going to call these other animals when they're picking up the scent. So it means it has been a big fight, and he managed to overpower them. So we just heard that the Unkuhuma, the tracks, has been spotted entering the property this morning, but it seems like they came in and out again early in the morning. So this looks fresh. It's not 2 days old. This is looking very much fresh. Maybe it was early this morning. This buffalo is going to survive. I can guarantee you that, because I can see this injury is not that strong. Buffaloes, they have got a very strong skin. If there's something penetrating there, not deep in, they can be able to do something which is called a violet tissue expansion. They can press themselves hard and get something which is penetrating to come out. So now I'm going to be looking for Hosanna. Let's go back to Steve and hear what the lions are doing.
It's always very sad when you see a lone buffalo bull like that. And, well, he survived, but often those wounds can lead to his downfall. Being on his own as well, not ideal. Lions will be able to smell that blood like sharks. Not as acute, I suppose, as blood in the water, but they'll most certainly be able to smell and follow a weak and injured buffalo. It's what hyena do, most certainly. And while even a big buffalo bull with the pride of lions, sometimes the buffalo manages to escape, which is what well, we're assuming with what you're seeing down there. I haven't seen the footage, but sure, very tough skin, torn open by very sharp claws of lions, and they'll often, when they jump on the back, will bite and chew his tail off, trying to subdue the animal, but he's so big they can't go near his neck or his head. Watch out, here comes a stork. He's going to jump. Oopsie, there we go. Time for some play. The 4 lionesses in the front here. They're moving with purpose. Seemingly, we've counted officially 10 lions now. There are 4 here, and then 2 groups of 3 that are slowly following. We were with those 3 males before, and then there were another 3 individuals further back that were taking their time. I'm going to assume that they're also young males waiting for the lioness to do all the work. Isn't that a beautiful pose? A little bit of height, a little bit of advantage. And they're still moving steadily in the same direction. Almost back on the road, back towards the river system. Just move up. So, sorry Lou, Psych Diva said something about lions taking something during the rain this season. I didn't get the whole thing there. I'm terribly sorry. Psych Diva, I'll answer your question. So I get the whole bit through. Shelter. Psych Diva, lions basically just stay wherever they are. They don't like the water, so they won't go into the... Oopsie, there's a hole. I better go around the drainage culvert, or I'm going to have a very sore left wheel. And cameraman. They don't really shelter, Psych Diva. They just, where they lie, they just lie. That's just it. There's no real... we've got a whole system here. Uh-oh. Lions have gotten over that. There's a big drainage culvert. I think I can get out there onto the road. Yes, I can. Okay, so just going to get around some drainage lines that have been dug in to get the rain off of the road, which is comes in abundance in the wet season. There's the road there. So lions will just sit where they are. They'll just put their paw over their head. There's no real home or house for lions. They hunt in the wet season, they hunt in the dry. The only difference really being is where the food is. And, well, they will sleep where those animals, well, where they do the killing. Okay, well, as we try and get back onto the road here, let's go to David, who's got something with very big ears.
Well, we've got a scrub here, and very slowly she is feeding herself from some leaves and grass. This is grass stalks she's just pulling from the ground. Look at her very big eyes and big ears, which she definitely needs for survival. Not sure she's eating, including any dry grass. And very quickly, look at the speed. How cute is that? Very small animal, very small hair, and see this time taken. I don't even... Oops. It's like a machine, eh? I think that's too much to put in your mouth. And I doubt she is even digesting it. It's cut, swallow. And yes, Lou says this is a very cool sighting, because I'm looking at her size and the amount of food she's picking up, and very quickly just like slicing it into small little pieces. Look at that, just like goes straight in. See that? That's so fast. It's just like even swallowing without even cutting it into pieces, not even chewing it. Scrub hairs normally will come out at night when it cools off. And because of the big eyes, they'll tend to see better at night than during the day. Big ears will help them to pick of any sound of would-be dangerous animals. And now what she's doing is digging some roots on that bush of grass, or the very base of the grass stalk that definitely is a bit nutritious than the very top stalks that are dry. They've been known to dig for tubers or for roots of grass which got a bit of moisture, and maybe also that's how they source their water. Alvera, you're saying, yes, it's amazing how they turn grass. And I tell you what, we have seen them once in a while. When they eat and they drop, you know, they poop, they'll go back and eat the same poop, either to redigest it again, because look at the pace from when she picks something and it disappears in the mouth. Definitely that is not chewed. Bungay, what do you think? Do you think she's chewing? Bungay agrees with me. She is not chewing. She's just cutting it in small pieces and straight to the mouth. Well, she knows she got some limited time, and they know the predation they face of leopards, hyenas, jackals, wild dogs, snakes like the African rock python, eagles, of course. Not any eagles will be out like now, but we got, you know, some owls like the marsh owl, marsh owl that could be out now, and they could be trying to catch them at night. So either she has to feed very quickly and go back to her warren. That's a very good question. I need to do a bit of my homework and find out how many teeth do the scrub hares got. I need to find out, because I do not think she is chewing anything. She's just like and straight to the mouth, and then maybe once she drops it, she will start to rechew her own pellets. They come out then the second time as very fine pellets. I remember in my village when he was small, would go grazing some stock, you know, goats and sheep and cows, and the dogs would spook them out. Debbie, I would say I do not see any difference, or rather you're asking whether there are any differences between the Juma and the Mara scrub hares. Debbie, I'll say no. Size, eyes, behavior, you know, feeding is all the same. And they normally come out at night, just like in Juma. And hopefully Sydney will get one today. I'll say, Debbie, they're more or less the same morphology, character, you know, gestation period, how they behave when they move, springing like the spring hares, and of course eating very quickly. The only thing, Debbie, I might say, maybe I don't remember very well when I was in Juma, I don't remember those scrub hares eating as fast as this one either. This particular one is very hungry. But the pace and the speed she's eating at is very fast. Well, scrub hares, be very careful. Steve got some lions which might come for you as a quick snack.
Thanks, David. Well, you all must have seen the other day where we had elephants in the river drinking, where they dug a hole. Well, these 4 lionesses who've been with walked down to that, and they suddenly found Mum, or one of the adults anyway, and they ran into the river, and they got all very excited, and then a hippo emerged and splashed into the very groggy water. Let me just switch my light off there. Here you've got the lionesses just here on the right-hand side. They got very excited. They found an adult, so there's definitely an adult with this group now. There was quite a bit of size difference. She was a bit upset because all 4 of them were really starting to pester her. And while they were down there, a hippo splashed into that little puddle of water that was there. And, well, that gave them all a bit of a fright. And now they're moving off. But you can actually see the size difference, can't you, between all of the 3 on the right and the one at the back versus the one on the left now. And now they're all going back the way we've just come from. So they've clearly lost the adults during the night. And now, well, one of the adults anyway. I thought there was an adult with the group earlier. They might still be at the back. So anyway, these lions are going back the way we've just come. You see the lioness on the left. She's a little bit annoyed with them because they were all very boisterous and very lovey-dovey. And she's not in the mood. Going to try and get a little bit closer there, James. Without falling into the hole over here. Okay, well, there they are. No doubt the rest, the other 6 that are following, will materialize shortly. Hello, Minamu. Well, the Olololo, just in front here, James. The Olololo is named after the range. Now, I'm going to have to ask the two gentlemen behind me what the word Olololo means.
A zigzag.
Oh, what, sorry?
Zigzag, something bending.
I don't understand, Justin. Something bendy.
Zigzag. Zigzag.
Oh, zigzag. Ah, zigzag. So Olololo means to zigzag. And when you look at the Olololo range, it does jut in and jut out. So zigzag, or Lou is saying serpentine. So both can kind of be quite similarly related. Zigzag a little bit more angular, I suppose, whereas the serpentine is a little bit more wavy. Oh, very nice, Olololo. And obviously this pride spends a lot of their time just here in the shadow of the mountain and lying up in the road. Now they found Mum, they're happy. She looks like she's got something on her face there. One on the left, the adult, and definitely bigger than the others. She's doing a bit of grooming. Well, very good that we found Mum, and the rest of the pride I'm sure will materialize somewhere soon, but it sounds like Sydney has got a hyena in a jacuzzi.
I've got the two hyenas here at the moment. One of them just got disappeared much more towards where Hosanna had a kill yesterday, which is where that buffalo has just been spotted. So the chances of these hyenas picking up the blood coming out from that buffalo are very much high. So hyenas, I don't know which den are they coming from. I was just lucky to find them drinking and bathing here by the Galago pen. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to follow them. Maybe they're going to lead me to Hosanna, or they might lead me to any other predator. So you can see that this hyena doesn't want to move here because the other one went to check the other side. So he is checking here, and I can hear some of the birds are also giving some calls at the moment. Maybe it's about the hyenas, or there might be any other predator coming to drink here by the Galago pen at the moment. Hyenas, they don't only scavenge, they also hunt. When I got here, there was a daker coming to drink, and they were all lying down, looking at the daker. Unfortunately, the daker spotted them and decided to run away. So I'm just trying to listen. Michael, the identification of these hyenas is still giving me a big problem. So maybe some of the viewers who knows them very well can assist me on that to confirm if it was Koza or not. So now it looks like the birds who are calling are just giving the territorial calls before they go to sleep, just to advertise that they are still owning these small territories in this area of distribution. So I'm just going to keep following them and see where they are going to take us to. Maybe they might reveal a cat here. Kathy, the buffalo is too big. It's even too big for one lion. So it's even too big for two lions sometimes. So hyenas, they are not very skilled in order to take down such an animal. Hyenas has got only one strategy, an old version, which is chasing an animal until it gets tired. They don't improve their hunting strategy. It's all the same all the time. So buffaloes, they retaliate. We have seen buffaloes killing the lions. They injure the lions. So hyenas has to be very careful when it comes to those kind of big prey animals. but they target small prey. They catch birds, hyenas sometimes, such as francolins as well. Chris, who understands the identification of these hyenas very well, he is suggesting that yes, correct, this is Koza the male. So here is where Hosanna had a kill yesterday, and I can still pick up the strong smell. So these hyenas, I'm going to use them for navigation and orientation. Maybe they might show me where Hosanna is. They are passing the oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Now the bird is blocking the hyena to come, spreading the wings just to say stop here, don't come. So it means that plover has got some eggs there. So it's something that just happened very quickly. There was a plover who ran right in the middle of the road in front of the hyena and opened the wings and called. that was cool. So those kind of birds, they've got the wings that when they're spread, at the end of the wing, they've got a protruding bone that they're using as a weapon. So you will see every time when they're fighting, there is a piece of a wing which is coming out, which is nice and sharp. They are using that in order to protect themselves. So he was trying to stop that hyena there that don't come here. He tried it twice. That was amazing. So these hyenas, they are going much more this side. So I'm going to have to keep following here and see where they are taking us to. So the hyenas knows very well where Hosanna is. So now let's go back to Steve, who is still with the lions.
Thanks, Sydney. I hope you managed to find a spotted predator for the evening, although you have already found a small one. Our lions, some of them have joined. Some have moved off back towards the pool where the hippo is submerged. We can't show you because he's under the bridge. But they've gone for a very tentative drink. But we're going to stay with this adult here because if anything goes down, she's going to be the creator. Sitting listening, biding their time. So it's interesting when you find the pride and it's all divvied up like that. It's all got to do with hunting that went on in the night and separation that would have happened. They've probably spent the entire day apart. Well, it was quite a warm day today. A good chance that they were lying up where they were, where we found them. They've been there most of the day. Or they'd moved out a little bit, maybe a bit later, but split up. No doubt hunting different animals, or the adults went off ahead, lost the youngsters in the darkness, and they were all very happy to see her. She got a bit annoyed. Everyone that came forward again after, she was growling at as they were trying to give her some love and attention. And you see the size difference when the adult is in attendance. Quite easy to see actually. Hello. They're all getting big. All our inverve poses indeed. There's a typical pose. Oh, there we go. A typical pose of a lion. Hence how it was captured by the ancient Egyptians in the Sphinx, guarding of the tombs of the pharaohs. I believe the Sphinx to be a big lion. So majestic indeed. Been around for as long as we have. Evolved on the savannah, just like we have. The harnessing of fire is what finally separated us from the beasts. Before that, we were just another morsel for them to catch on the open plain. believe it or not. Get that casual dude, you want to know what a lion would do without water. Well, they would struggle. They really would. These animals need to drink. All mammals need to drink. Only the most highly specialized ones are able to go for longer extended periods without drinking, or have designed ways of getting it from the vegetation. Lions can get a lot of their drinking or their moisture from blood that they eat, but they need to drink. Lions will drink readily. She's got a bit of a mark on her face there, doesn't she, James? They will drink readily, and they will drink daily. It's not often you'll see a lion avoiding or going without water. The one at the back has got a little mark on her face, it looks like. The big female. When she turns again, you'll be able to probably see it. There we go. There's a little bit of a twin sibling sort of pose. The two in the front. So the reality of it is all mammals were created or were born within a placenta. And the placenta filled with fluid. Then we obviously were born, but we are dependent on water for our survival. All mammals are dependent on water. Some live in water. Some can go for longer periods, but still need to drink, still need to get access to it. What are you hearing, little ones? So bearing in mind, we're looking at them in pitch blackness, folks. So they look like they might be looking at us and maybe blinded or something, but we are not shining anything at them. It's infrared light that's bouncing off them and coming back. It's a very low frequency. If we had to switch it off, it would be dark. There's a bit of a moon behind the thick band of clouds, but there's almost no light at all. If I look over the dashboard, I can just make out sort of palish spots in the darkness. So on a moon-filled night when the clouds cover the moon, it is an opportune moment for lions to hunt. Generally, when the moon is full, lions have a lot less success. I mean, the moon, they most certainly seem to like lying on the sand. They like to lie on the grass as well. But roads generally, I mean, depends where you go. I mean, in the Kruger National Park, you find lions on the roads all the time because the roads are a bit warmer in the winter months, and so they quite like the roads at night. And what also the roads facilitate is their movement. The lions here, I reckon, actually start specializing a little bit in using the roads, not only for cooling their body temperatures or for being comfortable. I think they actually have adapted some success via hunting along the roads. We were coming home one night along this very road, and there was a herd of wildebeest on the right of the road, and we had a lioness sort of sitting where this one is sitting, just in the verge of the road, and the wildebeest would have to jump over her head and cross. And we found many carcasses along the road, many carcasses. And I think the lions have adapted that strategy because there are a number of these roads in these reserves. You can see it's not very high on the left-hand side there, but there are places where the barrier on the side is actually quite high. So I wouldn't be surprised if many of the lions have actually used that as a strategy for themselves. Ooh, what did you hear? But it's also, there's no sticks on the road, so it's a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more flat. And, well, they can see a bit further along the road, and they also, when they move, they're a lot quieter on the road itself. But yes, most certainly they will use roads for cooling and for heating themselves, depending on the season. It's not very cold at the moment, so I think it's just a comfort thing. Convenient, nothing to stick in your side. You'll see the lions in Djuma quite often lying on the roads as well, in the river, the dry riverbed. Maybe a little bit more comfortable. It's a very still night. That wind that we had earlier is all but disappeared. Very gently coming from in front of us now. And that herd of buffalo that we'd spotted earlier has seemingly vanished. Still on my bucket list to get one of these prides of lion hunting buffalo. Really quite an epic battle between giants. Wonder how many of these young Olololo individuals will get involved in the hunting of a buffalo. Very stern look of mum there. They're definitely alert. They're definitely on the lookout for something to eat. And will the whole pride come together? I'm trying to think when last I saw all 17 members together. It's been some time. They've been spread out so much because of the migration and the movement of the animals and catching prey left, right and centre. They end up feeding on a kill, small group at a time. Christelle, we're so privileged indeed to be able to watch all these wonderful animals, and well, this is my job. I think I'm quite privileged to be, to be paid to drive around in the wilderness and show you all these wonderful scenes. Really, really is quite a lovely thing to do. Obviously, it is still work, so but it's not a bad job. No traffic in the morning. If there is, it's generally elephants or lions. So can you see? They're all looking. They can hear something. We can't hear a thing. Their perception, their hearing is much greater than ours. There's a yawn. And then going to climb up soon. Go and say hello to the family. Okay, well, maybe it's David Gitu they can hear. He's not very far away, and I wonder what he's up to.
Well, that's very normal for lions to behave like this time around, and after the scrub here, my luck has not stood again. I've been trying to see if I could see anything else moving in the darkness here. Not much. I've only been hearing lots of frogs and lots of cicadas doing all the singing at night, and the only one thing I saw flying away at one point was a mountain nightjar. This is the time we get the nightjars coming out. Sometimes you get them right in the middle of the road, just trying to warm themselves on the substrate. Very unique birds because on one of their toes they have a toe that have a comb, and you easily see them just grooming themselves and just combing their feathers using that one particular toe. The marsh bird, I think they went for a hunt. I did not stay with them for long because they went in a very twig area that is very wet and could be very easy to get stuck. I did not want to get stuck there. Let me see what antelopes I can see from a distance. It could be something interesting. Leopards I haven't seen here for quite some time. If any other cat I would see now would either be a leopard or a lion on the move. Cheetahs definitely, you see them once in a while moving at night, but they're more of diurnal than night moving. See some buffaloes coming up ahead. There's a huge herd of buffaloes. Bungay, you let me know what angle I'll give you. We've got lots of them on our right. And once all the wildebeest will be gone in the next, maybe if there's any left now, the lions will have to depend on these buffaloes for the next many months until maybe next year when the wildebeest come back. How is that, Bungay? Keep going. If you look to your right, we've got a sizable herd of buffaloes there. Sorry about the screeching of my brakes because of all the amount of sand we got in the Mara. Is a bit dry as we expect the short rains to come. And these are the African Cape buffaloes, a little different from the water buffaloes. Could be a herd of males and females together. Can't see them very well. You need to see the size of the horns to tell males from females. Hello. Some laying down and I would guess chewing cud. Buffaloes being ruminants. But quite reflex, they still keep flicking the tails. As much as I don't expect them to be having so many flies at the moment, it was a bit chilly. And the ones that do not eat enough during the day, they need to keep eating. And being cool, definitely, they have every reason to enjoy the grass. That should be a male, I guess, by his massive size of horns. Thank you, Bungay. Tarina, you're asking what sound do buffaloes make? I don't say they make sounds like, they meow. Ooh, just like cows. Moo. 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 Tarina, that was not a buffalo but me, but something very close to that. Bungay, do you want to try? Bungay says no because he has a sore throat. But yes, I mean, as much as they're very similar to cows, buffaloes are not related to cows, but they would make the same sound. Looking at their commonalities, we've got certain areas like in Asia, in Indian elephant, they have been known to milk the buffaloes, and they have been able to domesticate the buffaloes there. You would imagine, getting milk from a buffalo in Africa. That would be very dangerous. These are the animals you don't take chances with. When we talk about the Big Five and how the, Big Five was coined about, it's the animals that were most or are still very dangerous in Africa, and buffalo is one of them. The village I come from, we have buffaloes and hippos together, but you'd ask any villager which animal do you fear most between the two, they'll always say the buffalo. And once in a while we have seen, clans of hyenas, clan meaning a group of hyenas, going for baby buffaloes, because hyenas, when hungry and in big numbers, they would bring anybody down. Let's find out what Sydney got.
I am still following one of the two hyenas, and one of them went much more further north of the game reserve. This one is leading me back towards that area where they used to stay before, where we went this morning and yesterday and found nothing. So I'm just keep following in order to see if it's gonna lead me to their den where they have reallocated their babies to. He's right walking in front of us here. We might be lucky and discover where they are hiding their babies at the moment. So the other ones are not calling, so it's showing that he knows where he's going. So I don't want to lose him. I can see that he's going very fast at the moment. Maybe he's excited by something. Yeah, we're just going to check. We have been there on several occasions, and then there was no sign of the adults and the little ones there. This morning I went there, yesterday I went there twice, and also other colleagues went there yesterday and before. So we are not too sure if they've moved them to somewhere else, or we are just not lucky with them in this very same area. So now let's quickly go back to the Masai Mara. I will still be following this hyena.
Thanks, Sydney. I hope they managed to lead you to wherever, maybe Hosanna or Tingana, or maybe just the den site. But we are still with the lions. They're up and moving, and they're moving straight up the road towards where we live. So we're going to follow them up this road and see exactly how far they go. Maybe they'll find more lions. We always have lots of animals along this open sort of plain area up onto the escarpment, so we'll have a look. Maybe we'll see something as we keep going. We're just going to bumble along with the lions here, have a little look-see. Use the spotlight from time to time. Always good to spot in the distance. And if you see any eyes, well then you can just switch off and let the lions do all their thing. But the light helps me obviously to see where I'm going. But for now, well, we've got them. Only 5 now, walking in the road. 1 young male, 3 young females, and the adult. There was an enormous herd of buffalo in the marsh on the right-hand side that they seemingly haven't smelt because the wind is coming from that direction. It's always very interesting. Always very interesting how they can walk straight past a herd without knowing if the wind is at the wrong and different angle. So that's why we spoke about sensors earlier. And what sensors do the lions use most? If they don't hear it or smell it, they're certainly not going to see it from a distance. There we go. This beautiful youngster walking in the road. So to get in front of them is going to be very, very tricky. Oh, my pleasure. Oh, it's nice to be able to find the Olololos and spend time with them. Let me just move up one more time. We get the final glimpses of them as they move around the corner here. Just off to the right, here they are, James. There they are. Listening intently, sniffing. What have they spotted? Could be something in the thickets here. I couldn't see anything with the light. But this is when their hearing and their smell, because the wind is coming from that side. You can see how the grasses are moving there. This is where they'll try and, once they've heard it or smelt it, they'll try and locate it with their visual perspective. This could go any way. I haven't seen anything, and they're not looking too serious. Whatever it is could be a little bit far off. But anyway, thank you everybody. What a fantastic afternoon it's been. We've definitely saved some diesel this afternoon and not had to go too far. We're just down the base of the mountain. Thanks to all of you for joining. It's been wonderful having you on board. Thanks for the questions, comments and feedback. Thanks to Sydney for all his efforts down in Djuma, and to David in the other side of the Mara. Thanks from myself. We'll see you nice and early tomorrow morning. Have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.